Because it was a long holiday and it's been a while since I read to you, I'm going to read another story. This one is also from Terry Jones' Fairy Tales. It's called The Key. There once lived a rich king whose palace was the largest in the world. On the wall of the palace there hung a huge key that was as long as a man is tall. Now, this key was made of pure gold, but it had been made so long ago that no one could remember what lock it was supposed to open. So the king issued a proclamation that anyone who could discover the lock for which the key had been made should have half his kingdom as a reward. One day, three brothers came to try their luck. The eldest one said, I'm convinced that this is the key to the north wind. So the king gave the eldest brother the key, and he rode with it far, far away to the frozen lands in the north, where ice trees grow out of the snow and where even the clouds are hung with icicles. There he found a huge chest lying half buried in the snow. He tried the key, and it fit the lock, but when he tried to turn it, it was no good. So he loaded the chest onto a cart and took it back to the king. Then the second brother said, I am sure the key is the key to the south wind. So he took the key and rode south to the hot desert, where trees of fire grow out of the burning sands. And there he found a huge door in a mountain. The key fit the lock perfectly, but when he turned it, it would not work. Just as he was trying it, however, a warm breeze whispered in his ear to look down, and there he found a smaller door which opened when he touched it. So he crept in. Inside the mountain was quite hollow. The mountain was quite hollow, right the way across, and right the way to the top. The walls were red with the heat, and in the middle was a beautiful princess, bound with heavy chains. Who are you? Asked the second brother. But the princess did not reply. She sat looking straight ahead and would not utter a sound. Is the princess and the second brother. The second brother tried the great key on the padlock of her chains, but it would not fit. So he placed the princess on the back of his horse and took her back to the king. Then the youngest brother said, I think the key is the key to the wind that blows sometimes from east to west and sometimes from west to east. So he didn't ride anywhere. He took the great key and broke it in two, and from inside it came an oil, which they poured onto the lock of the chest. Then the lock opened easily, and inside the chest they found a silver saw, whose teeth were all diamonds, and they took the saw and cut through the chains that bound the princess. And she turned and cried, At last the spell is broken. And she told them how a wizard had placed a spell upon her in spite, because she would not be his wife, and how she could only be rescued by someone she would love but could not marry. Then the second brother leapt up and cried, I rescued you from the hollow mountain of the south wind. Then the eldest brother leapt up and said, But it was a silver saw that freed you from the spell, and I brought that back from the frozen lands. Finally, the youngest brother stood up and said, But it was I who broke the golden key. And if I had not done that, then the chest would not have opened and your chains would never have been cut. The princess looked at all three of them and said, The wizard's curse has indeed come true. All three of you have rescued me, and I love you all equally, and it is certain I cannot marry all three of you. So the youngest brother took one half of the golden key as his reward, and the second brother took the other half, and the eldest brother took the silver saw with the diamond teeth. And all three were then wealthier than anyone else in the kingdom. But they were never truly happy, for they continued to love the beautiful princess, and she continued to love all three of them equally, and they could never marry. And many times they all four sighed together, and sometimes they even wished they had left the golden key hanging on the palace wall. The end.